Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for joining us this afternoon for the customer engagement meeting here for the NSD department. We have a good presentations from all the teams here in front of us, so hopefully it's beneficial to you all, and we're able to share where we're going, what we're doing, and some of those goals. It's important for us to make sure we hear from you guys to, for some engagement for where you guys are going and make sure we're in alignment with services we're offering and the direction we're going so that we can make sure we're good partners across the agencies, between the agencies. With that, I will hand it over to Caesar real quick for a quick quick intro, and then we'll move on.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is, like Jason said, the same annual. So we do this twice a year, but then our other division within WATEC, CSD, Computer Services Division, they do it on the off cycle. So we have 4 of these as WATEC to the community, and it's more of a deeper dive onto what I'm not going to say the only things that we're doing, but these are the big items. These are the strategic goals, projects, agenda topics that we are kind of hitting either currently or in the very near future. We try not to go too far down the road because in 6 months we'll have this again. So there's no point of telling you what we're doing 4 or 5 years when we're going to have this, every 6 months. Again, I'm Cesar Rivera. I'm the Assistant Director for the Network Services Division. Next slide, please, Jason. So this is pretty much the members that are going to participate. They'll introduce themselves as they start their presentation. This is pretty much the order of the presentation that you'll see. If you have questions, you can raise your hands. They will pause in between sections if you have clarifying questions you would like to ask, or you can put them in the chat and I or any other member within NSD will bring it up or answer via chat. Again, this is meant to give you an overview, but after this meetings, any feedback, anything you would like to change, add, recommendations to not just the presentation, but things that maybe we are not thinking of to better assist. I want to reiterate that we are giving you what we think the community wants to hear about. But if you have questions that are not on here, whether it's a project, whether it's a technology, a service, please bring it up. You can wait to the end as a Q&A, or if you feel like it fits in a specific section, bring it up then. The slides are attached to the invite in case you didn't see that. If you would like to peruse them at your own discretion, but Jason Miller will be the MC on the slides here on this, and we will get started with Mr. Michael Costello.
All right, so Michael Costello, what am I now? The Strategic Plan and Design Manager for Network Services. So for those that are new and don't know who I am and what I do, right? My team and I focus, we're like Smokey the Bear. We prevent the forest fires. So we're all strategic, proactive approach to serve not just WATEC, but the broader state government. So next slide. All right. So we've had some fun this over the last 6 months, air quotes around fun. Is that we've moved into having a hybrid DNS. So what that means is we moved from BlueCat to Infoblox DNS, right? And we've got an on-prem solution, as well as we're going to tie that in with the hybrid piece up in WATEC Shared Tenant in Azure. So we'll have it in 2 different places. That's going to extend our capability to support state government, as well as supporting not just on-prem, but also cloud-based solutions as well. As we know, state government's moving further into cloud, right? Adopting more cloud, right? We are that proactive piece to help you guys and help agencies adopt more cloud services by providing those capabilities that you need up there. CDR has been kind of an interesting word since I showed up to state government. It was kind of new. But what this is these are currently today Visio documents that are manually updated, created for all the circuits that WATEC delivers. So that's over 800 Ethernet circuits, over 300 SMON connections, right? So for those that do manual labor, you should know what a pain in the rear it is when you're looking at like 2,000 CDRs to do, right? Because it's not just our circuits, but it's also all the connections within the state data center. Well, we are looking to automate that process so that we have our business team, right, can look at all the connections and get most of the information they need, and then eventually, hopefully, be able to provide customer dashboards so that y'all can start looking at your connections, right? But that's the progression of it. So we have decided we're moving into a proof of concept with Net Infoblox Net MRI, and that should be done sometime. Hopefully by the turn of the calendar year, so that hopefully next spring we'll be able to deploy this, and the next time we have a conversation like this 6 months from now, that I'll have a lot more details on that topic. WATEC is also a lot of when you guys submit requests to look at your bandwidth and utilization, right? The capacity. That today is done with manual analysis, right? In the future, we're looking to leverage IBM's SEV1 to do that. And that also is going to include customer dashboards, so that, let's say, I don't know, maybe Keith from DSHS doesn't want to reach out and touch, WATEC. He can go to his own dashboard and he can see live what his circuit utilization, bandwidth problems, all the data analytics that come with that. Right? So we're going to teach you how to fish, right? Then you can go fishing, right? And that's the intent, long-term, big picture stuff, right? Everybody's going, well, how is that going to work in the future? Great question. We're working towards there. So both Infoblox and SEV1, we're waiting for security design reviews to be completed. And for those that know that process, it's a timely one. So we're waiting for that to be able to move out. Okay, WATEC engaged a consultant to assess our network and security architecture and services as part of our cloud readiness assessment effort, right? So WATEC is pursuant of multiple initiatives to figure out how best to support the broader state government to adopt cloud IT services, right? How do we posture ourselves, WATEC, to support you guys, so that we can help you adopt those cloud services. So this is a precursor. This readiness assessment is over the next 6 to 9 months is going to assess network and security services to align them and make recommendations on how to better align them within WATEC, and architecture, network and security architecture, and say, okay, as a service provider, WATEC, this is how you should evolve your architecture, right? That work is a precursor to and a feeder, right, into the state's cloud strategy, our core strategy, our internet strategy, as well as our SD-WAN strategy, right? That's a buzzword that's going to be talked about here in quite depth, I'm sure. And then we're also going to be life cycling our route reflectors. So for those that know, our route reflectors are the global IPv4 and IPv6 routing tables. That's that address, right? Those blocks. Those routers or route reflectors are those that manage all that IP addressing that WATEC has. And then finally, SD-WAN. Woohoo! We got a decision. So this year we're actually going to be refining the design of the initial build for SD-WAN to include 5 pilot sites. Next slide. SD-WAN proof of concept completed. So we started this 6 years ago. We finally come to a decision that, yay, we got SD-WAN. That's great. The key thing is the adoption of broadband internet. So you're going to learn a lot more about SD-WAN in the upcoming Tech Talk that's happening next Monday. And it's going to be a series of Tech Talks. So we're going to teach you what we've learned about SD-WAN, how the proof of concept went. We're also going to get into how we're going to use and leverage SD-WAN, but the key is the use of broadband internet. So moving from Ethernet to internet, right? SD-WAN decouples the dependency on WATEC data centers. So HCA is one of the agencies that say, we don't have a dependency on WATEX data center, right? We want between us and the cloud. SD-WAN enables that, right? SD-WAN appliances are going to be the new PEs. So right now we know we use WATEC uses Cisco ISR 4K routers, right? In the future, those we hope to replace with SD-WAN appliances for those sites and agencies that adopt broadband. When I mean plug it in, I've seen it myself, right? As long as WATEC does its due diligence and pre-configures your site profiles, when your remote sites get it, you literally just plug the device into the internet and it phones home, it configures itself, and it provisions itself. It's pretty slick. There's not many times I say slick, but that's pretty slick. And then we know SD-WAN is the potential evolution of SSL and IPsec, right? They're both inherent with SD-WAN technology. So that's eventually, that's the bigger picture, what we're looking at. But ultimately, after a thorough proof of concept, Cisco was the winner. So Cisco Viptela specifically is the SD-WAN solution that WATEC will be deploying. Now, let me clarify one thing, right? I'm not replacing your Palo Alto firewalls. For some agencies that said, well, we don't have a use for SD-WAN. Absolutely you do. Because it's to complement WATEC's wide area network transport and connectivity service. So all those routers, all those WATEC PEs that are throughout the world, right? It's for us to better deliver our transport connectivity service to your remote sites, right? So that O365 traffic can go from your remote site to O365 without having to come back through WATEC. You can go to the cloud directly without having to come back through WATEC, right? So it opens up, SD-WAN opens up so many doors. For those that can't attend, please attend next week, Monday, 2 to 4, SD-WAN Tech Talk series number 1. Next slide. I'm trying to talk quick. All right, so we are going to be looking at deploying a scavenger class. So we have WATEC has a 4-class QoS model. We're looking to adopt the 5th so that, if and when saturation occurs, the scavenger class would pick up, stuff that's not related to business of the state government business. I hate to say like Pandora, right? And those Facebook and other sites would fall into that when saturation occurs. So that's what we're looking at. We're also looking at replacing our wide area network routers at Quincy. It is that time to do the life cycle, as well as our aggregation switches. We're looking at life cycling our core and edge firewalls and putting UTM functionality on the firewalls, so that like IDS, IPS would be hopefully a functionality. Yay, right? So that you guys could say from your VDOM, you need these select features, right, that we can start enabling for you. And then I've talked about the internet and the internet strategy, cloud core strategy. And for some reason, my headset turned off. That was pretty funny. And then start rolling out those SD-WAN appliances as part of that 5-agency pilot program. So that's how many we're going to get. I'm looking for, 4 volunteer agencies for a site that we can put into that pilot program. Next slide. Looking further out, we're going to life cycle our edge routers, right? And then upgrade the SMON capacity potentially from 100 gig to 200 gig. And then hopefully start life cycling all of these PE routers into SD-WAN appliances, right? That's Michael's wish, right? We'd love to do that. And then as agencies or remote sites adopt broadband internet, right? SD-WAN's coupled with that. Caesar.
I just want to elaborate on one thing for the SD-WAN for better picture or better clarity, better strategic alignment for agencies. This SD-WAN is not meant to be rolled out within, the next 6 months to a year. We are going to train, not just internally, but share our knowledge with agencies. Then we will roll out. That's why it's a fiscal year 25 initiative to start doing those remote sites out. So it's going to be a phased approach, but we're going to learn before we even put anything out there, so we don't try to fix the plane once it's already in flight. So just for you, for your agencies, as you, the word is strategize, right? As you make strategic plans for your future of whether it's enhancement to your current sites right? Whether it's redundancy or just replacing the Ethernet. This is not going to be a, hey, we need to roll out 20 sites tomorrow for SD-WAN. This is going to take time, and this will also take contractual changes to how we procure those broadband connections, right? Right now, we've cut a lot of that additional time down, but we need to be a little bit quicker so that if an agency needs a broadband connection, SD-WAN might be the best case, and it's quicker than Ethernet. So it's a multi-year approach with a lot of moving pieces that we're trying not to miss anything before rolling it out to agencies. So just want to get that context out there, Mike. Thank you.
Yep. And then lastly, for great questions I see in chat, what I would say is tune in to the Tech Talk series, because we're going to answer all those questions during then. So lots of information coming next Monday. So next slide. All right, so Cloud Highway, real quickly, 13 agencies on board, 2 in process. We're in the process of upgrading the capacity from 20 gig to 30 gig. So Kevin Crosby, our solutions engineer, will be supporting that. But in the future, right, we're looking to see at the very bottom there, the future, right, to enable MaxSet connectivity with Microsoft, WATEC has to adopt the ExpressRoute Direct. For those that, what that means is that WATEC would become the single bill payer to Microsoft, right? So that's should we do that? I don't know, right? And then the other thing is anybody that's looking to extend themselves easterly, right? We can do that at any Equinix data center within the continental United States. So for those that are interested in more Cloud Highway, let me know. Next slide. All right. And then just a couple things. So Larry Thornton is the new systems engineering supervisor. So my network core engineering team added a new engineer, Michael Flieger, and has now become systems engineering because they focus on more than just the network. And so Larry Thornton will be the new supervisor for that. And then, yeah, that's simple and easy. He starts on October 17th. So thanks, Larry. Next slide. And I will, pending any questions, I will be followed by Chris Craig.
Thank you, Mike. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, Caesar. Okay. Well, my name is Chris Craig. Like Mike said, I'm the operations manager. For those that don't know, our teams include the network, voice services, firewall, DNS, and now we also are responsible for the SSL VPN and RSA as well, F5 stuff that recently transitioned from OCS. Next slide. I'm still looking at the operations one, by the way. Okay. So ongoing projects. Mike already talked about the DNS effort, but the team did an amazing job. They recently migrated from BlueCat, which was for our DNS and IPAM tool, to Infoblox. The slide says complete because in my mind we're complete. We're like about 98% there. They're still finishing up, I think, some firewall rules to turn up next week for the Azure instance, but we do have servers in Quincy and the SDC, internal, external, DNS has all been migrated. And like I said, just an awesome job by the team. It took a lot of subject matter experts from CSD, the firewall team, Larry from Mike's team. So everybody came together and pulled that off, and I couldn't be happier. So that's pretty much behind us now. Next gen SMON. So I think we've been talking about this for a couple years now, and this is also finally complete. So we went from a DWDM type of network within the local Tumwater, Lacey, Olympia area to an MPLS type of network. We still have our fiber we use for transport, and all services have been cut over to that new SMON. So done an amazing job there. And data center lifecycle switching project. I believe we probably talked about this 6 months ago and probably again a year ago, but this is a huge effort. So this is like replacing 105Ks throughout Equinix, Quincy, the SDC. We've experienced some vendor delays with equipment along the way. There's been some items that have kind of popped up we didn't account for that we're making last minute changes on, but we're actually to the point now where we are just waiting for a few more cables to be ran, and we'll start scheduling customer migrations. We have some test connections we're going to do here that's internal to Wabtec, hopefully by the end of the month. So I would expect probably starting in November, we'll operationalize these and we'll start sending out maintenance notices 2, 3, 4 times a week after hours to start doing these migrations. And our goal is to be done by next June. So Jason Tarver and his swings team with the support of level 3 and guys from level 2, I have faith maybe they'll get done a little sooner. So we'll see. Jason's on here probably right now saying, Chris, what did you just say? So that's a big effort. And that second line or the fourth bullet is DCL switching, but it actually should be core. So we are also replacing our core 7Ks. That effort is slowly starting. We're working on getting the gear mounted right now in the data centers, and we're actually going to perform this. You can go to the next slide too, by the way. So that's going to go in hand now with our new firewalls. So we are working on a procurement, like Mike said, for quote next generation firewalls. We've been working closely with OCS and different teams within Wabtec, and as of right now, the goal is to have these new next gen firewalls on site early next spring, at least by June. And as you can see here, we do right now, we do offer IPS on our core VDOMs at a charge. But the executive team here in Wabtec has decided that we will offer IPS on the core for all our customers at no additional charge. So that means a lot of training for the firewall guys. So we know we're going to get questions from our customers and how to deploy this and support it. And right now we don't really have the training or staffing to provide that level of assistance. So we're working on scheduling some training, and so we'll be ready once we're ready to offer that new service in most likely a year and a half from now. We'll be able to assist you guys. Implementation. So like what I was saying with the data center core life cycle, our 7Ks, it's going to occur the same time as this new firewall. So we're going to stand up the new firewalls in a greenfield environment, and we're going to migrate all our VRFs and VDOMs, the existing ones, over to a greenfield layer 3 environment on the firewalls. New firewalls, new core. So that also will take us probably another year to complete. So we got our work cut out for us up until mid August of 2024. And next slide. And some other updates. So for those that do not know, our previous Steve Axsmith decided to take another opportunity, and that gave us the ability to recruit, and Chris Snyder has graciously accepted the role of supervisor for the LTS boys team. Chris has lots of great ideas. I've enjoyed working with him, and so if there's any escalations on the LTS team, you can always reach out to myself or Chris Snyder going forward. As well, the firewall DNS team, Brian Burnley has accepted the role of supervisor for the firewall and DNS team, so you can always escalate to Brian or myself should there be any questions. And I think that may be my last slide. No. Oh, yeah. Like I said earlier, our RSA F5 services. So SSL VPN forward proxy used to be an OCS RAN service. Justin Nord, Justin Hansen, Kwong, and Judy Bartley, and I think that's about it. Recently transitioned to NSD. So We do have the two Justins in operations right now. They're really trying to help us learn these services. So what our goal here is to have a bigger staff be able to help them support these services better. This is new for NSD, so we're trying to figure out internally how we can better support the services throughout NSD, and utilize some of our TAMs, some provisioning, Mike Costello's team for the life cycle and the forward thinking. And I think that's my last slide. Any questions for me? You can always reach out to me directly if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. This is Eric Talberg here. I'm the manager of Watech Telephony Services, all things telephonic. Here today to talk to you about some of our initiatives. Go ahead, Jason. So these are the points that we're going to touch on. If you want me to visit anything else during this interlude here, feel free to reach out. I'm here for you. Okay, and the first is Microsoft 365 Teams Telephony. That's our UC, Unified Communication product, that's cloud-based and operates out of the Microsoft Teams application. And so the highlights here, we're about 17% on what we thought would be our migration of about 19,000 users. So we got about 3,800 users onto to Teams. We have implemented some automated processes so we can more rapidly move people from other systems onto Teams, primarily from our Avaya premise PBX. And we've also added a core view tool for Teams telephony, which will give our customers some more capabilities to self-manage and do reporting. Any questions about Teams telephony? A heck of a deal. Onward. Okay. And on the other side of the fence, on the premise PBX, we continue to do a lot of voice over IP deployments. And the way they're rolling out now, we're doing SIP, Session Initiation Protocol, is the endpoint of choice moving forward because it's got a lot more going for it. Again, a lot of remote workers, and we've got software to facilitate the remote workplace. We've got the Avaya 1X solutions for regular telephones and for agents. And also we're starting to implement the Avaya Workplace solution, which is SIP-based and allows for multiple endpoint alerting and some other things. Got nice cellular applications that go along with it. And then also Teams, of course, which is the the granddaddy of telephonic software. So as I said, the SIP service adds the ability to alert to multiple, up to 7 devices, and some really cool apps for cell phones. And the reason we're doing this is to reduce our hardware footprint out there in your offices, and to make the telephone software, the teleworking software, operate more seamlessly, better, and it's easier to deal with and takes less of your time, hopefully. Questions? Okay, onward. So this is what we're touting as the hard phone, soft phone solution that we're moving to. We call it One Workplace. And so what we've done is we've bundled a bunch of services together. These all used to be discrete services that you would buy from us. And we're putting them into one package. And so it goes for $22 a seat. It includes a standard voicemail off of the Avaya messaging and the Avaya Workplace soft phone. So phone, voicemail, soft phone, all together. And we throw in domestic long distance calling, which means, no cost, no authorization code. And the efficiencies and savings are listed below here. Again, everything's bundled, so you don't have all these items showing up on your bill. It eliminates the process of managing authorization codes for the people that are using this. In most cases, we still require authorization codes for international dialing, since that's our biggest exposure to toll fraud. And it provides a nice stable number for your telephony budget. You don't have any variability in long distance, and it's generally available. So if you want it, you got it. Any questions? Nope. Okay. Well, this is a relatively new service that we've introduced here due to voluminous customer demand. And this is our cloud-based fax service, or eFax. And it's posed as a replacement to analog lines and fax machines out on customer premises. In a lot of cases, there isn't anybody there anymore, so the faxes come out and sit on a tray until someone comes by and get them. And so what this does is it puts it all on the cloud. It converts those faxes into a file and emails it to a list of approved users. So it's a much more secure, I believe, method, and it scales nicely. With the fax machine, if it's busy, the next request for it would get a busy signal. But this is in the cloud, and it scales almost infinitely. And so we've had this going for probably 6 months. And it's starting to pick up a little bit. People are hearing about it, and we're getting more interest generated. So I would encourage people to consider replacing your Centrex lines, your PBX analog lines with this service, and then eliminate some headaches. Okay, and these are a few of the things that we are up to here, always up to something. We are upgrading Avaya PBXs all around the state. We're going to be doing our largest PBX, which is what we call Only 3. It's a statewide PBX, and it's going to take us about 4 or 5 months to upgrade it, because there has to be some hardware upgrades as well as software upgrades. So it's quite an endeavor. We're doing upgrades for DOC at some of their sites, bringing everything up to current version software. And we're putting in some new service for DSHS at a few sites, and they'll all be at current version as well. In the next point here, we've begun the process of offering a cloud-based contact center using Amazon Connect service. And so this is a little bit of a departure for us. For those folks that are using Teams or other systems, this is not dependent on a premise-based PBX to provide the service. The calls come to agents through a web-based telephone, I guess. And it's got all kinds of capabilities for contact center. Call recording. It can do sentiment analysis. So if you want to find out, how many of your customers are truly delighted, you can ask the system, and it'll tell you this. And it's all out in the cloud. We're offering it probably in December. Sometime in December, it'll be an official service. But we're working with several agencies right now to do pilots and investigating migrations over to this technology. And we've also invested in a migration tool to help those people that have Avaya, sort of the legacy version of voice over IP, which is called H323, to move to SIP technology. So that we're going to make that easier for people to make that change, so they can go from the old version of costing to the new version of SIP costing, where everything is bundled up and in a nice little package. We've been doing a lot of work with 911 and our product to provide 911 location services, to provide a higher degree of safety to our customers and to put us in compliance with regulations that are in place at the federal level. And we've made some progress with Microsoft Teams. They have an application that runs within Microsoft Teams to send that information to the emergency call centers called PSAPs. And we just recently got that to work, and now we're gonna roll it out to the customers. So made some progress there, so that should be available soon. We've invested in some tools for our on-premise IVR, a product called Proactive Outreach Manager, which is a method of notifying customers. You can send them a voice call, a message via voice, text them, or email them. We've also, it's a customer contact tool. Then we've got another product that we're beginning to roll out called the Avaya Cloud Notification System, which is a cloud-based emergency notification system that can let you know when bad things happen or good things happen, more or less along those same communication lines with texting, email, or via phone call. One announcement, we are sunsetting the venerable Avaya audio conferencing service by the end of December. And that's been at the state as long as I have, and that's a very long time. So, it's bye-bye to an old friend. And then the final note I've got here is that we've just completed a transition in northern Washington and portions of eastern Washington. What's traditionally been served by Ziply Communications, who took over from Frontier Communications, is now served by a company called Granite Communications. And so that's recently been completed. And along the way, we changed it from what used to be called a Centrec service, which required dialing a 9 to get to the outside network, and now it doesn't require that. It's just like what they call a flat business analog line. That's all that I have to cover. Does anybody have any questions out there?
Eric, there's a couple of questions in chat. One of them is compared to Teams telephony. How many current users are on Avaya?
About, anywhere between 50 and 52,000. So the premise-based PBX is still significantly larger, but that counts also several institutions and correctional facilities where we provide services.
And the second one is the 911 tool different than the current Intrado 911 location manager app?
Yes, it is actually. It's not an external application to begin with. It resides within Teams. So you don't have to keep a separate application up to date. And it works pretty well, I would say. The one thing that I've noticed is that if you don't have location services activated on your workstation, and some people do that for security purposes, that it doesn't go directly to the PSAP. It goes, which is the Emergency Response Center. It'll go to the Intrado call center, and they'll qualify the call, and then they'll route it to the correct PSAP. Let me show you real quick here. We got a minute or two. So let's see. Look here. So this is my my telephone application, and you'll see down here there's my address. That's where you can send the gifts and flowers and things if you like. I can edit it, and so I do all this within the application. And so, as opposed to the Intrado Location Manager, which is a separate client app, a separate client that you have to update, and the software changes on it periodically, so you have to keep it up to date. With the Teams, it all takes place, auto-magically inside of the Teams application. Stop sharing now so you can see the slides again. Oops. Okay. Are there any other questions there?
Yeah, there's another one. When will the Avaya cloud notification product be available, and what's the cost?
We are piloting with a few agencies right now, demonstrating it. If it proves to be a worthy product, and we think it will be, then I would say probably within 3 or 4 months. The projected cost for it is there's 2 components to the cloud notification service. There's a subscription cost, and then there's usage-based elements. It's kind of like the Amazon Connect has a usage-based component to it, and so it'll be $325 a month per site, plus, and that'll include a certain amount of text messages, voice messages, and email is kind of unlimited. But then if we start to exceed that threshold, then there will be a usage component added to it, and it's not that expensive for the type of service that it provides. It can be if it saves you from one lawsuit, it pays for itself.
I think that's all the questions out there.
No more interrogatives. Anyways, thank you for your rapt attention. If you have questions about any of the things that I've talked about, feel free to reach out. We'll be willing to demonstrate, educate, whatever it takes. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Hi, my name is Brandon Archibald. I'm the WATEC Wireless Manager Supervisor. And we'll jump right into it. So we'll just go over the initiatives we have going on right now. Many of you have been working hard on these, and it is very appreciated. So the first one here is the wireless AP refresh. I actually have some updated numbers here, so we're past 1,000 APs refreshed. We are right at 1,100 that we've refreshed throughout the state. So that's leaving us with right around 400, 300 left to go. So going really well. We have right around 160 APs out in the world getting refreshed currently. Just shipped off another 40 of them yesterday. So it's a lot of work out there. All of our partner agencies out there, I can't express how grateful I am to you guys for all the hard work you've put in and the great work you've put in. It has not went unnoticed by our team. It's been great to work with you guys on this. And I think we're on track to be completed around the first of the year. There may be a few left out there in the wild around the first of the year, but for the most part, we should be pretty much completed by the first of the year on that. And then right behind this, we will be having here, we're engaging with Cisco on the 2800 series access points right now, and working out a timeline for when those will be refreshed. It looks like we'll pick those up We're probably going to start refreshing those at the end of 2023, possibly. We're not 100% on that yet, so there'll be more to come on that. We're hoping that those 2800s, when they get refreshed, we're really hoping that we'll have Wi-Fi 6E APs that we're refreshing them with. So we'll just see how pricing goes and availability and all that fun stuff. So that's something cool to look forward to. Let's see. Next one is our consolidating the work we've been doing to consolidate the statewide SSIDs, the roaming and the agency SSID. We're really close. We have 2 or 3 agencies left to complete, and those ones that it's going to take a little bit of work to get done, because there are bigger agencies, and that can be a little bit more complicated. So we are working with those agencies now, and if you haven't heard from me in the last few weeks, I'll be reaching out to those agencies here probably end of this week to just kind of touch base with them and see how they're going. We are on track to sunset the roaming SSID at the end at the first of the year, so that's a pretty big deal for us, and getting that airspace cleaned up out there throughout the state. And then we'll start tackling our guest SSIDs and see if we can make any headways there with combining those. So more to come on that also. We have our Cisco DNA Center appliance rack stack powered on and the initial configuration started. This is a heavy lift for our service. We're not 100% sure that our DNA Center appliance will be a full one-to-one replacement for Cisco Prime infrastructure. So that's kind of where we're at right now, is we're getting it built up, get it integrated into our pre-prod environment, and start clicking all the different boxes and levers and see what parts are missing from Cisco Prime infrastructure that we have currently. What we want to avoid is replacing Cisco Prime with something that's worse. So it's kind of a tough one for us working through all the features of DNA Center, because it's a pretty complicated box, but we're getting there. So more to come on that. Hopefully at our next meeting, when we do this again, we'll have a lot more details around that replacement. Any questions on any of our initiatives real quick?
Brandon, there was one question in the chat.
That's a good one, Scott. I love it. I wish we could give everybody free iPhones. That'd be cool.
Hey, Brandon.
So so to put in Polly for your answer there, the 2700s that we're replacing, we got almost six to 7 years out of that hardware. So that's what we shoot for. We try to get the longest amount of time we can out of the hardware. But with the 9120s that we're deploying right now, we expect to get at least 5 to 6 years out of those. So what we're trying to do here is do a staggered refresh, so that we're not replacing 2100 access points throughout the state every 5 years. So having different models out there will let us replace smaller groups in the future. So yeah, we're on a 5 to 6 year cycle though for our hardware, the AP hardware, that is. Next slide. So just an update on our footprint. We're sitting at 30 agencies right now. We have 2 or 3 agencies that have expressed interest in our service, and we're working with those agencies currently. We have right around 2,145 access points deployed throughout the state. A large majority of those now are 9120s with Wi-Fi 6, so that's really cool. Let's see, we got 400 plus access points right now in progress that we're either designing for or deploying, installing. So we've got quite a few APs in process right now. We've deployed over 300 customer sites throughout the state, and growing. So we have right now, we just updated these numbers, so we currently have 15. Let's see, which ones are these down here? Mount St. Helens. So Mount St. Helens and Sequest. State Park. Those have been installed and deployed. We just got those installed last week, or no, the week before last. And then we are working on Sun Lakes. It's not the Sun Lakes State Park proper, it's the Camp Delaney that's out there at Sun Lakes. We're looking to install that here in the next month or so. So that's pretty exciting. It's a really neat facility out there. Let's see, and then we have Lewis and Clark Lodge and Lord Mansion that are in the queue right now that we're working with those folks. And that Lewis and Clark Lodge, if nobody's been out to that area, absolutely amazing facilities out there with parks. So I suggest everybody take a chance to get out and see the state parks. Has some pretty amazing places. I think that's pretty much all I have. And if there's any more questions, it would be to Jason.
I think there's one more question out there from Polly.
If Brandon, you can answer via text to Polly's question. You're muted.
Sorry, yeah, I'm going to answer it in chat.
All right, perfect. Okay. All right, last but not least, Jason, well, maybe I'm least, I'm not sure, I guess. Anyway, Jason Miller, I'm the manager of the Enterprise Data Network team here for WATEC. My folks are the provisioning team and the TAMs, the network TAMs, so they're the ones that work with you guys pretty closely on all the network turnups and the like. So I've been in a lot of meetings with quite a few through the last year or so that I've been here. On the WAN side of things, I think the last time we met, we were talking the MSA updates were just being finalized, so that has been finished. We do have one vendor that's at this point is elected not to sign it. Zayo is not part of the new MSA agreements, but we do have two other vendors that are working through the approval processes and all that to get on board to be able to bid for circuits. So that's good to open up more competition, more availability across the state for all the vendors. On the legacy circuit, I'd really want to throw just a thanks out to everybody from the agency side that's worked closely with us to get this down to the 23 that we have left. I know the team's been pushing pretty hard to get things cut over. We had internally, our goal was try to have this done by September. Obviously, we kind of missed that a little bit, but we're right down to the nitty gritty, those ones, the tough ones that we have to pull out. So keep working with you on those. Looking for other out of the box remedies, solutions to some of these things. So that's been really good. With the new MSA updates, we've been meeting with a lot of the providers in our vendor management meetings and been talking to them about our bidding process, been talking to all of you, the agencies in our meetings about struggles that you've had with the bidding process and the issues, just documenting that, what we can change, what we can address, what we can, take some incremental changes on. To that end, one thing that we did finally get approved, get moved through, which will be starting here at the beginning of next month. So the first RFQ for November is we're adding an additional weight to the scoring system for the fiber versus wireless versus copper delivery of Ethernet services. The intention here is, with talking to a lot of the community, right, there were some locations that we went away from a fiber delivered service to a wireless service purely because of the weights of the matrix itself. So this change addresses a little bit of those things. So it still handles those niche areas where we'll need a wireless connection or something like that, but won't by default go with the quote unquote cheapest provider. It's going to be the best technology and the best most cost effective solution. Our contracts folks, our financial folks have done a lot of work getting this through. Caesar, of course, carrying the flag to get this approved from multiple angles. So I'm pretty happy this is just one step forward. There's some other changes coming as we get this going, but I don't want to knock down too many dominoes right out of the gate. But I think this should be a good step forward to be able to start addressing both the investment that the state has in paying for delivery of fiber to remote locations, as well as make sure we're delivering sustainable, efficient services. In those meetings, also with the providers, we're talking about what their broadband footprint looks like, how to best go about that, as Caesar kind of alluded to, right? We'll have to look pretty closely into how we procure broadband services from the providers in a timely fashion. And there's a lot of intricacies we need to address through that process. But the vendors have been great, working with us through that. Just having good open conversations about where they're at, where they're going, where we're at, and where we're going, to be able to hopefully deliver again decent or correct services. The next slide. So Chris discussed the changes to, or at least the adding of the F5 RSA services to NSD. With that, I wanted to just share with everybody the services themselves. These are all the NSD services that we have available. Who the business owners, some of these have changed, but the business owner is the technical owner, so that you know who and when, how you can interface better with NSD depending on what services. To that end, it was brought up earlier, there's some training that'll need to be done, of course, on how we deliver the services and such, and we're gonna take a pretty aggressive move, hopefully, to be able to get some of the TAMs exposed to a lot of these services as well, so that when we're in those monthly meetings with all of you, right, that we're able to discuss more than just WAN services, circuits. We are able to discuss, firewall services or DNS or anything like that, to be able to start taking some of that information and make sure we're able to share that across the organization, both internally and externally. And again, just like all the rest. So I just wanted to kind of get this out in front of you guys in case there was any, sometimes it's, who do we talk to? So you can always get with the TAM, and we should be able to route it to the correct folks. Caesar, hands up.
Yep. Thanks, Jason. And to elaborate a little bit for the bigger WATEC picture here. So there's a project currently in place in WATEC where each service, so when I say WATEC service, I don't mean just these are part of WATEC, but each service has a service action plan or plan of action, depending how you want to call it. But it's supposed to be a 2-pager, well, sometimes a little bit more, of this is what this service is. This is, who we're trying to be our customers. These are the customer engagement forums, our current, our short-term, and our long-term goals, and a financial snapshot of that service. So all of that is going to be encompassed in the plan of action, and it'll be for each service, and it'll live for not just internal. When I say internal, I mean WATEC. It'll be an external product so that everyone that wants to, or it's one of those, I wonder if WATEC has this type of service. It'll be almost like a catalog, and you can look it up and have some people call it a little pamphlet, but it's a 2-pager of a description, which is not meant to replace our online service description and our internet facing. This is more of an analog / this is going to be a living document that hopefully, if everything goes like it should be, also makes sure that the internet facing our website gets updated at the same time. So it's just supposed to be an accompaniment, but it'll be a one place consolidation of where these documents will live per action plan. When are those due? Well, you've been working on them for a while. The majority of them are already at the executive team being reviewed for blessing and approval. And the goal is to have those updated depending on each service, but it'll be at least a yearly update of this is where this service is going. So this just goes to show you that NSD has a lot of services that they'll be maintained, updated, not just on our website, but on that action plans. When and where they'll be published, that'll be coming at a later point from a WATEC notification / announcement. But I just want to give you all kind of a heads up that is happening, and the goal is to get those out sooner rather than later. I think the latest date I saw was end of this calendar, so end of October, but I can't tell you that that's a true statement right now or not. So I just want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Thanks,
Any
Cesar.
questions?
I just had one other announcement that I wanted to make. I don't have a slide for it, but at the end of this month, unfortunately, Mike Lilly has decided to retire. So he's been with the state since, I believe he said 1984, if I remember correctly. So he's been with the state for a minute. A lot of service. He's a wealth of information. Certainly been a pillar that I've leaned on over the last year that I've been here. So he'll be missed. So if you guys, he probably has worked with all of you at one point through the last few years. Drop him a note if you feel it's appropriate. But yeah, his last day, oddly enough, is Halloween. So I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, Mike will be leaving then, and we'll be going through the process of replacing him, as difficult as that's going to be. I believe that is the end. Any other questions, comments on any of the rest of the slides?
Well, anyone, has anything, whether they want to put a chat or here, I'll just close this out by saying, again, this is not meant to be this is meant to be a one-way, but we hope for your feedback to what you want to get added to this or changed, right? Do you want elaboration on something more than the others? Whichever suggestion you have, please let us know, because this is meant to be to inform the community of where we're going so that we can better align to support you. Again, you're our customers, and we want to be able to support you, not just think of ideas in a closed room by yourselves and think that this is where you guys are going as agencies and not discuss it with you. So hopefully you've seen that kind of shift or change over the years. And again, this is one division or one section out of WATEC, but it's one of the biggest ones. And then CSD has this same type of recurring meeting, offsetting quarters. So that's the two biggest service providing divisions to get you as much information as possible to make your plans. If you have nothing else, I want to thank not just this team here. They do great. They're great managers and supervisors, but everyone that works within them, they spend countless hours trying to help you in emergencies or just day to day. So I want to thank them for that time. But I want to thank the agencies for not just attending here today, but being communicative, responsive, and very direct in what you would like to see change or not change, because we need that too, right? We need to know where we are failing, but we also like to hear the good things. So I do appreciate, there's a lot of you that send good kudos to the team within these managers. So we do appreciate that, and I want to say thank you. And we do pass them along to them, so it doesn't just end, with an email or a phone call or anything to us. We do present it to them, and we do show the appreciation. If no one has anything else for us, Jason Miller will take whatever you have. If not, he will be responsible, or he will send the next invite whenever we put that on the calendar so you guys can have it. If you know that the distro list or the invitation list from your agency has changed, please let him know. He handles that living document. Other than that, I appreciate your time, and thank you, and have a good rest of the day and the week.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.